Hello guys, Laksh this side from the F.A.I.R project, and this is my video showcase. So over the span of the past few weeks, I've been engaged in the F.A.I.R project, which has given me the opportunity to learn about perspectives, facts, and how do I form opinions. And it has molded me into someone that has completely revolutionized his way of thinking in a span of such a short time. So I would like to thank F.A.I.R for giving me the opportunity to do so, but at the same time I would like to thank all the colleagues that were there with me, because it wouldn't have been possible without them. And without further ado, I'll just start with the topic that I have chosen, that is economics, humanity and power, a question for you. So I would like to start this one off with a simple explanation as to what am I even talking about, the three things that I have talked about in the topic itself. What is economics? So first, to understand economics, we have to understand what a market is. A market is any place where transactions take place. What is a transaction? For example, a person A buys something from person B for money and credit, and person B gives them services, goods, etc. for anything. When these transactions happen over a large scale in a somewhat controlled environment, it's called a market. And all the markets that exist in the world, when combined and under an umbrella, are called the economy. So why am I telling you this? Because it's necessary to understand for the perspective I'm going to give next. So now let's just compare markets to doing social good. For example, I am a business who is into car manufacturing, and I mainly delve in the field of cars and stuff like that, and I only know about cars. But does that mean the oil market does not affect me? I don't think so. Cars are mostly run on oil, so it might have an effect. And that's where the entire idea of intersectionality comes in, where it basically says, if I am plagued by an issue, it's not because it's just only one factor that is playing that role there. No, it's a combination of factors. Let it be poverty, gender, race, anything. It can be literally anything. And when we're talking about markets, if we continue to think unilaterally of markets as something that doesn't affect each other, the approach might not be a very good one, and we won't be able to predict what's gonna happen next, like it happens in a lot of cases. And when it comes to doing social good, I feel intersectionality is the way forward, where we acknowledge the fact that I am, or someone else is plagued by way more issues that I can possibly imagine, and give them a chance to speak about it, rather than us taking the charge. Us, the market owners, deciding how the market plays out is good. But what about the individual trader? Do we give him a chance or her a chance to bring their voices to the platform and be like, these are the rules that should be there from my perspective? And that's where bringing in the people from the marginalized communities into the center of our discussion comes in, where they decide how the market would be, not us, the people that have been in the market for so long and don't even have a common touch with the people on ground. So now I would like to again shift perspectives to something that I find very amazing, and it's the universal law of gravitation, which basically says the amount of gravitational pull is dependent on the mass of two bodies. And even in the equation, it has m1 and m2 and r, which is a universal constant. The constant being, well, we are humans, I feel, in the social world. And m1 and m2 I would like to compare it to the capability of an individual or an organization to bring in change. How many people they can move. At the end of the day, everything is built by people, is given power to, and not taken away, and power has been taken away by people. It is, the human society is built on people. So now think about it. If you're an asteroid, and you have a mass of 1,000 suns, that makes you capable of moving Earth out of its orbit and just throw it in space, and we all basically die. That's not a very good way to forward, but yeah, it is a possibility. But what inherently lies here is you have the ability to do it. If you do it or not, it's up to you. And that's where the whole concept that I'm talking about comes in. True, micro initiatives are important. Let it be, the club we are running in the schools and stuff like that, plantation drives, anything that we do on an individualistic scale to bring in the change are very important. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge the fact that at the end of the day, if you need to move a mountain, yeah, you need someone with the capabilities to move a mountain. And nobody, begins moving their mountains just on day one. You have the guy who moved the mountain started by moving small rocks. And well, that's where the hopeful part comes in, that we can't all be big asteroids that have the ability to just swing Earth out of the orbit. We can't be intergovernmental organizations that have the ability to just completely change how government policies are implemented, but we can work towards it, because at the end of the day, good incentives outline everything. It's what I feel. Now, what do I mean by that? That is the second point that I'm going to talk about. It's called incentivizing doing good. So what does it mean? You see, the stock market is generally motivated by profit. It's like the shining symbol of capitalism, okay, I feel, where you raise money so that you can invest in your business and you can expand your reach and earn more money, and you give a part of it to the people that believe that you could do so. That's basically the stock market. Now, what people kind of forget about here is they are not printing money out of thin air. They're printing money out of someone else's pockets at the end of the day. It's just how the world works. If someone loses, someone will have to win. So when it boils down to it now, at the end of the day, no matter how big you say, my business is and all, if it doesn't provide value to the people, it will never ever succeed in the long run. For example, let's take Coca-Cola. I personally love Coke. I drink Coke. And I know that even if someone just starts, everyone in the world just says, I don't want to drink Coke, Coke is bad for you. Yeah, it's a very big possibility that it might hurt their sales, but it will never ever go like to zero, because they are so massive. It's like basically saying they're too big to fail, but exceptions are always there. It's like a 80-20% chance if you want to really save and ask me. But at the end of the day, that's the reality. The stock market is not based on the fact that you can absolutely predict something. It's based on the fact that you can predict something more or less with accuracy. And that's what I feel humanity itself is. You can't really predict anything with absolute certainty with what we're going to be doing in the next 10 years, 5 years, but we know the direction that we're going. It's going to be something similar to what I think maybe this will be, and it's based on certain facts. You have to analyze. Before you buy a stock, you analyze it. You go through the balance sheet. That's a fact. If you buy it without that, the investment is not going to be good. So what you do is, when we are doing good, let's analyze. Let's look back, I feel, as to, what is that I am working towards? Does it have a relevance in the world that I wish to live in? Does it impact the society in a way, and has the capability to grow in such a way that it will bring in a momentous change? And the answers can be yes and no. Now it depends on you. If yes matters to you, there's a certain way for you. If the no matters to you, and the only thing that matters is, even if it's small, it's something that we have together continued, and the impact is there. There are two paths, I feel, and whichever path you're gonna walk is gonna be yours. Coming to humanity and power, they are interrelated. I would like to quote one book that I really love on power, that's like 48 Laws of Power, and basically says, never outshine the master. Everyone in the position of power wants to feel secure of their power. That's why asteroids, whenever they have small planets, they just move them out of the way, because they have the power to do so. They don't want them blocking their paths. Even if they come in contact with them, they just kind of destroy them in the way. But what happens when an asteroid, big asteroid, or maybe a sun, we just kind of revolve around them. We don't really disturb them, but we learn from them. We take whatever we can. Earth takes sunlight. Our energy budget, 99.7% of our energy budget on Earth in terms of living beings comes from the sun. So we are not affecting the master. We are taking from them and learning from them, and we are not outshining them, because Earth cannot replace the sun. We just cannot. But does it want to? That's a good question. If it wants to, if you're a person who thinks, I want to be the prime minister, I want to change the world, nobody's stopping you from dreaming. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to the incentives you provide people to make you the prime minister, because in a fair deal, you get an equivalent amount. But in the world, if you give back more than you take, yeah, that's where you're gonna really come out on top. And it's said in the Chinese proverb, always give before you take, and it takes away the zap feeling that it has. And yeah, and I would like to end it with this Stoic quote that says Momento Mori. What it basically means is, remember that you can die tomorrow. Yeah, that's the truth. Because it truly makes you fearless. If you know that I'm going to be dying tomorrow, it really makes you fearless. This is one thing that I personally believed. You really have to believe it in order to make you fearless. But once you do that, you can look at the face of death and still be hopeful. Okay, it's going to be great. And I would like to end this thing by saying it. One quote that I really like by one of the Stoic philosophers, that it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You might not be an asteroid, that can move the entire solar system or something like that, but you are, maybe you can be a speck of dust. A speck of dust has a gravitational pull, the mass is there. You can collect similar specks of dust with you. Maybe you'll become a pebble. Pebble attracts two pebbles. Two pebbles maybe make a mountain. A mountain maybe makes two mountains, and a planet. Two planets make a big asteroid. And you know how compounding works, like in the stock market, you become something big, and you're able to move planets in the way that you want to wish to see, and you become the change that you wish to see in the world. So my question to you is this: what do you want to be? An asteroid that can move planets and doesn't in the right way? An asteroid who can move the planets and moves them in the right way to maybe create life? Or be the speck of dust that doesn't really care about the planets moving around, and it's pretty much okay with being whatever planet they're on and stuff like that? Because at the end of the day, collaborative efforts will make the world a better place. And that's where I'll end it. How economics, humanity, and power come together to create social change. It's where we acknowledge that we are different, but we come together to solve a problem. And that's it for today. Thank you.